How you doing?
Doing good.
Awesome. We are too.
Last night was fun, right?
Yeah.
It certainly wasn't perfect, but it was kind of, it was history. You know, when we started talking about doing what we do and doing what I do, I thought, well, we're doing so much press. Literally, before I came here, I did almost 24 hours of press for the end of the road, and the day before that, did the same and did it in LA. So I can't do that and sing show after show after show. I could 20 years ago, I could 40 years ago. But at this point, it's more important to do great shows. So this is a cool time for us. So I am here to answer anything, well actually not. I'll answer whatever I choose to answer. Actually, I'm here, no, I'm not gonna say. Anyway, so who's got a question for me? Yeah.
Here you go. Sorry, cut you right off. Here you go.
Hi, Paul.
Hey.
I'm Patrick from Sweden.
I love Sweden.
Thank you, and I love you.
Well, you know.
That sounded a little cheesy, I know.
No,
anyway,
that's fine.
I'm thinking, when you started to play the guitar, did you ever think about being a lead guitar player, or did you always go for the rhythm guitar player?
It seemed so difficult, you know, and all the people that I really loved, I understood the rhythm, and that's really what connected with me. I thought, I can be the guy who holds the foundation down, and it's just a matter of finding somebody else to do the solos. So, some of my favorite, I mean, Pete Townsend is a phenomenal all-around guitar player, but he's a phenomenal rhythm player. Steve Marriott in Humble Pie, who was one of my inspirations, was a phenomenal rhythm player. Jimmy Page, for all his great leads, is a tremendous rhythm player, and I just decided to focus on that. And
and it went quite well anyways.
So far it's going pretty well. Yeah. I think I'm going to get a deal.
Maybe you get a record deal, yeah.
Maybe. I'm a little old to get a record deal, though. Yes. People with microphones. Run around. Keith LaRue, a star in his own. A star in his own right.
I'm Chris from Dallas. Your new stage suit looks amazing.
You can call it costume. You can call it.
Anything that? How long did it take to make, and how's it feel? Did it feel comfortable?
It's awesome. It's really. I think some of these outfits are the coolest stuff we've had. For us to go on the end of the road and have something that looks familiar, but at the same time kind of kicks it up a notch. I'm just psyched. My stuff is really cool, really comfy, and as comfy as like 40 pounds of gear can be. But it's awesome. Everybody's up their game. I helped Eric some, but Eric very much wanted to harken back to some of what Peter wore, some of the earlier stuff, and I think we captured a lot of the vibe, of the band over the years. So I'm real pleased with it, and the band. You'll see it at the shows. We did sound check today. Band just sounds so ridiculously good. By far, I'm telling you, I think we really worked hard. We've been rehearsing now for over a month, and we're months away from going out, but it just means that much to us. This time it's got to be something very special, and when I was doing sound check today, I was just blown away how solid it is and how good it sounds. It's like, I hate to think that you have to announce that you're calling it quits to really up your game, but we're up in our game. You don't have like to clap every time. I mean, I like it.
Hey, Paul.
Yes.
Recently, you posted a picture of a Wicked Lester acoustic reel on your Instagram.
Yes.
I'm wondering, have you managed to transfer it, and has it survived, and do you have any plans for it?
I haven't had a chance to. And when you have old tapes, magnetic tapes, which is what we all used to record on, when they're old, they tend to deteriorate, and you may get one play out of it before it just falls apart. So the process is, before you transfer it to digital, you bake it. Literally, you have to bake it to get it to adhere, to give you one great shot at it. So I haven't had the time to do it, but it was interesting. I showed Gene the box, and he just went, wow. I found this box that was full. It was almost like a time capsule. This was, I found my taxi driver license in there, which is unbelievable. I found something that most of you don't even know existed, something called a bank book. I said to somebody, hey, look, my bank book. They went, what's a bank book? So my bank book was in there, my taxi driver's license, the original KISS t-shirt that I made when I played the Diplomat. So, and it's perfect because it's been in this box. No light was in there. So there was a lot of cool stuff. There was all these great tapes, Wicked Lester tapes, and really, really cool stuff. I took some photos from my new book, and my new book comes out April 30th. So there's some cool stuff in there.
Thanks, Paul.
No applause? I was just kidding.
My hands were full. Hi, Joe from Florida, right in front.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
It's good seeing you.
Hey, good seeing you. I know where you got your shoes from, but where do you get your jeans? Not Costco.
No, not Costco. So help me. I think these were from Macy's. I did G-Star. So I think I bought these on sale at Macy's. So they were only like $400 because they were on sale. No. Isn't it crazy that you pay more to get something that looks like it's falling apart? The new ones, oh, they're 20 bucks. Oh, you want something with holes in it? Now you gotta pay. Yeah.
Over here. Hi. I'm Sigurd from Sweden as well. I've been thinking about the question, and that is, what parts of your career, your KISS career, are you the most happy with, and what parts are you the least happy with, proud and least proud?
There's no getting around that it's 45 years later, and not only is KISS alive and well, but I meet people like you who tell me stories about how we impacted you, how we inspired you. That's unbelievable. Maybe the best way to inspire other people is to not tell them how to live, but you lead by example. So I think I'm really proud that people come over to me, and just in the last few hours, and tell me stories about how much impact I've had or we've had. So that's a real proud moment. Look, I think there was certainly a period of time where we kind of got lost, but everything. I'm not somebody who regrets anything, because when you look at where you wind up, you couldn't have gotten there without the path that you took. So, am I proud of some of the music we made, or am I proud of some of the decisions? They weren't great decisions, but we really had no choice. The band was going through certain periods of time, and certainly when it was clear that Peter had to go, and we did a couple of albums. We were losing traction from being four-wheel drive. All of a sudden, we were three-wheel drive or two-wheel drive. So I wouldn't change anything, but even an Olympiad, even a great athlete who tries their best every time falls short sometimes. But at the end of the day, I think our record is pretty damn good, and it got us here with you. I'm telling you, that's amazing. It really is amazing.
Hi, Paul. I'm right here.
Ah,
Anthony Ciano from Brooklyn. I was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony,
me too.
and I was dressed like I'm dressed right now.
I wasn't.
It was brought up at the Gene Simmons Vault that now that you're not going to be touring anymore, would you continue to do cruises where you would do it once a year with all your fans who love you and put on a Kiss show, but once, and have a great time? This is my first cruise, and I can't go on any other cruise because...
Well, I will tell you that if you choose to, you will be on Kiss Cruise 9.
Will not be like a Kiss cruise.
Well, in everything we've tried to do, we try to, if not raise the bar, we try to give people what we want, what we would want as fans. And this is the cruise that I would hope that a band that I loved would do. Kiss Cruise 9, what we found is that every time we do a cruise, some of you aren't aware, by the end of the cruise, we've nailed down the dates for the next year, and we're working on what it'll be, and we already know this Kiss Cruise 9, so, yeah, so I'll be on it too. I'm going. This is too much fun.
Hi, Paul.
Hey.
Question for you on your solos, specifically Hold Me, Touch Me, World Without Heroes. They're very emotional and powerful. What was your approach to those?
I can be a sap once in a while. I can get pretty sappy. I like solos. This may be an excuse because I can't play fast. So I was going to say I like slow solos that are melodic and have a lot of emotion to them. And some of my favorite guitar players were not the ones who played the fastest, but the ones who got the most out of a note. For me, maybe because of my own limitations, it comes down to not necessarily what I play, but what I don't play. So both those solos are pretty cool. Tommy had a hard time playing World Without Heroes. Not that it's technically difficult, but it's a little off in terms of where you'd be playing. So my solos tend to be very melodic and focus much more on trying to emote, give some sort of emotion rather than showing you how fast I can play, because I can't. And the crowd went wild. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, Paul, my name is Scott. I'm from South Florida. I'm a newbie here, and I'm so excited. You guys did an amazing job last night. Thanks to my two friends over here, they convinced me to come here. And you were just saying before that things that you regret and don't regret. The Bandit makeup that you had before, what went from the Star to the Bandit back to the Star?
He sighs.
It was amazing, all of it.
It was very funny because I came up with the Star, which felt very comfortable and felt very much a part of who I am.
Which we love, everybody.
And at some point, and it was quite early on, the president of the record label said to me, "Oh, it's too femme. It's you're too effeminate or whatever." And I punched him in the nose. No. It's too feminine and it's too soft. You should be a bandit. So I did this other makeup. But I was always like, what the hell? What am I, a raccoon? I have no idea. I couldn't figure out why I did it, and it didn't come from me. So after a month or not much more than that, I said, screw it. You know, it's my way or the highway. This is, you know, this is about me, not about you. I have to wear it, and I am KISS, and you basically work for KISS.
I just want to thank you. From 1977, I went to Madison Square Garden, sorry, before I was ever driving, and not to talk about age, but you guys are unbelievable.
Well, thank you
so much.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being here. We got some good friends, obviously. How long have you known each other?
We've known each other for about 22 years.
Well,
Or 21.
no substitute for time. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Hi, Paul. I'm Lance from South Africa.
Hey, South Africa's far away.
It is indeed. Just two things. Firstly, thanks so much for all the music. It's meant a lot to me and many of people from my part of the world for a long time. And secondly, any chance of the end of the road coming to South Africa or somewhere nearby?
I do believe so. It's so interesting because when we said to people, we're doing the end of the road and this will be our final tour, and then they say, well, how long does it run? I say, it could run 3 years. Oh, well, some end of the road, you know, some farewell tour. But what I try to stress to people is the night we play your city, it's over. So it could go on for another year or two, but the tour ended once we're in your town. So we're definitely trying to get to some places we haven't, in addition to all the ones where we really feel we want to and need to go back. It really is much more than a concert at this point. It's really a night to celebrate what we did with you. We wouldn't be here without you. So it's one of those. I don't want to say bittersweet because there's nothing bitter about it. It's an amazing time for us all to reflect on where we started and what we did together. So we definitely want to try to get to some countries and to some places that we haven't been, in addition to making sure we go everywhere we have. So hopefully, because I've always heard great things, you know, great things about your country, so very possible.
Hey Paul, how you doing? Over here.
Oh.
Eddie from Orlando, big fan.
Now Orlando's much closer than South Africa.
Yes, very much so. Huge fan. I want to say thank you first of all for the pre-code for the KISS Cruisers to buy the tickets for anybody else. That's
well, yeah,
thank you for that.
It seemed like it would be torture. I mean, for you to hear that tickets are going on sale and you're on a damn boat. You know,
so I really appreciate that. So
sure.
I got front row for Tampa, so I'm happy about that. And just want to say thank you to your whole team, Keith, Jill, Doug, Matt, Sony, everybody. And my question for you is, in a road tour, do you think they're going to be is there going to be a live album, maybe, since it's going to be the end?
Yeah, I haven't really given it any thought, but it seems appropriate. It seems appropriate that we'll want to document, whether it's video or document with an audio of this. It's a great way to wrap things up. So although it hasn't been planned or thought out, it seems logical. I hope so too. I was just talking to my wife about you.
Good or bad?
And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me, actually.
Yeah. Can I tell? Dan, right?
Yes, that's correct, sir.
I remember Dan 3 years ago, and he was, I think, not a reflection of who this guy is. He was alcohol fueled, and you know, like a lot of people who drink too much, really kind of out of control. And last year when he came back, he had been sober for a year, and absolutely a different person, just a wonderful, lovely, lovely man. And now it's 2 years, And I'm so proud of you. And it's those moments that I go, wow. If I had the littlest part to do with that, then I've done something good. But kudos to you because you did it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just talking about that, what they've taught me over the last couple of years is it's okay to look back but don't stare.
Absolutely.
And also I have made my own slogan up, which is staying sober is the new getting pissed. Red is the new black, staying sober is the new getting pissed. Because I've got such a phenomenal lifestyle now. I've just got one thing to point out or ask you. I can't get my head round what it must be like walking through a big cruise liner in the middle of the sea and hearing your voice singing everywhere you go. That must freak you out, does it not?
To hear
you singing, every PA system, every television station, everywhere you go I hear you singing. It's doing my head in.
I'm lucky that I like what I hear. I never turn it off. Yeah, it's actually funny because, so help me, I'll be somewhere and whether it's on the ship or in a store or a restaurant, and I'll hear something go, that's really good, and I go, that's me. So,
also last tour when you came to Glasgow Hydro.
Glasgow.
I was obviously in the crowd, and you walked on with my Saltire Scotland guitar, and it freaked me out. It really freaked me out, and it brought the house down because obviously, like lots of nations, people are very patriotic. So when you come to Glasgow next year, don't bring another Saltire, because I want to be the only one.
Well,
no, I want to buy it.
I'll tell you something. If you bring your guitar, I'll play it for a song.
You serious?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's nothing more important, or it's certainly one of the things. You should love your country. Whatever country you come from, you should cherish what they've given you, the opportunities, because we live in a society now where there is oppression and there are regimes that some people are unfortunate to live under or be born to. We are members of the free world, and we should thank God or whoever we want for our good fortune to be born where we are, and to make sure that our country is everything it should be. In my case, I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud to support my military, as all of you should, because politicians come and go. Politicians can lie, they can tell the truth, whatever, but they only last so long. But the people who make it possible for them to exist and for you to have political opinions are the military. And those people never get what they deserve, and it's up to us to make them the heroes, make them feel like the heroes, and remember that we owe everything to them. So I hope you all love your country as much as I love mine, and we're all blessed to be free.
Just one wee quick question, Paul. When you come to Glasgow next year, this is my friend Ronnie from Dallas, I have convinced him, he's now wearing a kilt, you could come on stage in a hydro and you could wear a kilt and you could call it Dress to Kilt.
Wow. I'm just afraid if I wear a kilt, the wind might blow wrong. That guy's got big balls.
Hey.
Yes.
Hi. I fully support Dress to Kilt because my dad and I are also Scottish, and we will be there next year. So please do. I was when I first got into Kiss, I was a teenager, and you didn't really play UK or Europe, and so I never really thought I'd get to see you perform live. So I just think it's really great, and thanks to you guys for going on for so many years now that you've been able to perform for like multiple generations, like my dad's generation and then my generation, and even you go see everyone on the cruise now and there's little kids and everyone gets to enjoy that and be a part of that. So thank you for that.
It's something that we pride ourselves in. Some bands, God forbid, your younger brother God forbid your father is at a show. But for us, this is a tribe. This is much more than a rock and roll band and their fans. This is people who share a common belief. That's why we're all on the ship together. We may have differences and come from different places, but there is a spirit that's touched by what we do. And it's humbling for me to think that we could be the magnet that draws so many people together. I look so forward to coming to Scotland. I look so forward to hitting every place because you've made everything possible for me. I always find it interesting that people thank me, but it's very much a two-way street. What we have with our fans is what we call reciprocity. It's reciprocal. It's something that's shared. So it's never lost on us that you are our oxygen. You are our blood. You make it possible for us to exist.
Awesome. So I just wondered, because earlier you were talking about some of your inspirations, and so obviously for me being able to see you guys perform live after growing up and being really into the band and stuff was really special. I wondered if when you were younger, or even as you got older, are there any performers, like bands or artists, who made that kind of impact on you when you finally got to see them perform live?
I think there was so much music that inspired me. Doesn't mean I necessarily wanted to copy it or imitate it, but it inspired me to find my own footing, my own road. When I was a kid, I just loved rock and roll music. Other kids were out playing cowboys and Indians and things like that. I was just in love with what I would hear on the radio, songs about being a teenager. To me, that's all I ever wanted to be when I was a kid. Being a teenager sounded like everything. You'd fall in love, you'd have a girlfriend, you'd go to dances and all kinds of things. So rock and roll was always important to me. And then with time, certainly the Beatles came around, and that was pivotal, because what I loved about the Beatles, besides the fact that the music was so great, was you had this unit. You had four people who looked like they belonged in the same band. And besides loving the band, you could actually have your favorite member. And I think that there's glimmers of that in what we do, although I would never be stupid or big-headed enough to compare us to the Beatles. But if there's an inspiration, that would be the inspiration there. In 1968, I think, in August, I saw Led Zeppelin. And that was truly groundbreaking for me. It was such perfection. It was so perfect. There was such a synchronicity and an unspoken telepathy between those musicians that to this day it's the greatest thing I ever saw. And I remember when I left that show, I said to my friend, let's not even talk about this, because it's anything we say will cheapen. Well, it was almost like a religious experience. They were just so magical. So that, and seeing Jimi Hendrix a few times in the beginning, I was very fortunate, because in New York almost every weekend there was a bill of usually 3 bands playing for $3, $3, $4, and $5. You could see Zeppelin, you could see Hendrix, you could see Derek and the Dominoes, Clapton, you could see all these great people. So I grew up in a time where going to what was called the Fillmore East, which was an old theater. And the great thing about these old theaters was the acoustics and the fact that you were always close. And the people who I saw play, they dressed great, but they never lost sight of that rock and roll can be almost a religion, and that somebody can be up and preach the gospel. And that's far more important than a smoke machine or a bomb or anything else. At the core of what you do has to be your passion for what you believe in. And those people who I saw who meant the most to me were people who just sweated out this fervor, this love of the music. And at the end of the day, for me, Kiss is ultimately that. We've dressed it, we've chromed the engine, we put a great paint job on it, but at the heart of it is a great motor. I think Kiss is based on a passion for what we do. And that's why I love sometimes doing shows like we'll do here, where we don't have any special effects. And it really comes down to just preaching the gospel. And so my inspirations have always come from bands who I grew up listening to.
Hi, Paul. It's Ellen.
Of course it is.
First time cruiser, and it's awesome. It's been a really good time so far. Curious to how you stay in shape when you're on the road, and with all the food and drink in our faces, we haven't made it to the gym just yet. Curious to how you stay in shape and what your bicep and tricep regimen is.
I eat heavy food, so it's. I'd love to take credit and say, gee, you know, I'm spending all my time working out, but it's not really true. I do exercise probably 3 or 4 times a week, but it's not heavy lifting or anything like that. It's actually a bar class where you're on a dancer's bar, and it's me and usually about 40 women. So if you don't think that makes you work, you know, so you don't look like an idiot. So that's kind of what I do, but it's also genetics for me. I'm very fortunate. My dad's 98, and yeah, thanks, Dad. My dad's 98, totally lucid, reads the New York Times every day, and so I owe some of that certainly to genetics. And I'm also pretty vain, you know. I think it's important to do your best to look your best, because it makes you feel better. That's me. Someone else might not feel like that, but it helps me to look and go, you know, you look pretty good. So if you look good, if I look good, I feel good. That may not be, you know, I'm not telling other people you have to do that, but that's part of it for me. It's vanity, and vanity is not a bad thing. There's a difference between narcissism, which is based on an old fable about Narcissus, who looked at himself in the water and ultimately drowned because he was so captivated by his own look. Narcissism isn't a good thing. Vanity's not a bad thing. It can be very, very helpful.
Good.
It means really taking pride in what you do. So whether it's in how you look or what you do as far as your occupation or hobby, if vanity is pride, then pride is a good thing. Okay.
Hey, Paul. I'm Dana from Detroit Rock City. Yeah, there you go. All right, so a little over 20 years ago, you were able to perform as the Angel of Music in the Phantom of the Opera. At that time, I was not really old enough to truly appreciate your work in that. First off, are there any decent copies of that exist?
Well, that's very funny, because, of course, if you go with the advent of social media, your worst moment lives forever. So if you fall on your ass, everybody goes, "Oh, he must have fallen on his ass every night." So it's true. The 1 or 2 things that I've seen on YouTube, one of them is horrible. You know, so If you listen to that, yes, my voice cracked on a B, on an important note. But I actually have a really good copy of the whole show, and at some point I will sneak it, at least parts of it, to Keith, and he can post it, because it was an amazing time, and I didn't get standing ovations every night because people were running for the door. And it was the hardest work I've ever done, and also maybe some of the most gratifying work I've ever done. It was totally consuming, left me no time to do anything else. And when you dive into something where you have really no experience, but you have the raw talent, it's very difficult. But I was very, very fortunate to have a cast of incredible people. Some of them are still doing Broadway now, who both respected and admired how much work I put into it, and it was an amazing, amazing experience for me. Something I'll never forget.
Thank you.
Hey, Paul, I'm Chris from Pennsylvania. I just want to know how your sneaker deal with Puma came about, and are there going to be others? Because these things are very comfortable.
They are. Who's got Pumas? Me. If there's a lesson in this, the lesson is you don't need an invitation from somebody to pursue something or go after something. People have said to me, so how'd that come about? Did they get in touch with you? No. Now, I'm in a slightly different position than some people, because with fame and notoriety, people may give you an opportunity that others don't. How did the deal come about? I got in touch with them. I just got a number, called and said, I can design shoes, and they said, really? Show us. And I designed these and those, the suedes and the, what are these ones called? These ones are called breakers. So literally the two shoes I designed, they went, wow, okay. And virtually after that went into production. So they came out and didn't know what to expect. They sold out pretty much around the world in one day. So they are manufacturing again. And matter of fact, when I get off the ship, I spend that night in Florida because there's a Puma event and they're relaunching the shoe. So at the same time, I'm designing more. I'm designing another 2 shoes and clothing. So I'm doing clothing for them and I'm doing shoes. Well, everything takes time, and I think we're looking at, within the year. It takes time for everything to get done. The event in Florida, I don't know. I don't know. It's the night that we land, so I have no idea. Somebody will get me there.
Hello, Paul. Oh, Paul. Hi, Chuck Cooper from Indianapolis, Indiana. My question's kind of around the working out thing, but in a different aspect. As far as, we all know you guys have always had big bodyguards and such, and I know you still seem to go out a lot in public with your family and everything. I'm just curious if there's ever been a moment where, or a story you could tell where you feared that something might go wrong with either an overeager fan or fans or something like that.
I think fans tend to be very respectful, and I have to tell you that when I see some of these young performers who go out with 4 bodyguards who weigh 400 pounds each, that's why they need bodyguards, because they're drawing attention to themselves. And it makes them feel important. The truth is, you don't need You certainly don't need 4 guys. And the truth is, when I see most of those guys who these celebs have with them, they're nothing more than club bouncers. They're the guys that are at the front door who open the velvet rope to let somebody in. If you want a real security guy, he should look like everybody in this room and be able to kill you in a minute. You know, you don't need somebody who's so big that the only thing that they can do is sit on you. So I often don't have anybody with me, and if I do have somebody with me, it's not somebody who I'm going, hey, look at this big guy I have next to me. There can be somebody there, and their purpose isn't to draw attention. Their purpose should be to let you get on with your life. So I didn't become famous to cut myself off from people. Hopefully, when I'm not with my family, and if I run into, when I was coming here, I ran into some people. I take photos and talk to people. I would feel horrible if I cut myself off from people. But at the same time, the idea of walking around with a bunch of sumo wrestlers, you know, that's just young and dumb.
And one other thing, my friends would kill me if I didn't ask you. Indiana got missed on this first leg completely. Indy, Terre Haute, home of the Kiss Army, original. Will you be coming back around and hitting those dates, I guess, later on in the tour?
That's the first leg. That's the first leg. There's lots more dates to be announced.
That's what I told them. Be patient. They'll be here.
Be patient.
Thank
Be
you.
patient. We're not forgetting anybody.
Yeah, you've mentioned that you've obviously got a huge range of musical tastes, and you have your soul station.
Yeah.
I love soul music as well. And now that the end of the road is coming with Kiss, I just wondered if you foresaw some more soul station. And since you love Glasgow so much, we have some beautiful, intimate venues that would be perfect for such a show.
Yeah. There is an offer to do an album, and there will be lots more shows. I love those people. Everybody in Soul Station has either played with Natalie Cole, Whitney Houston, The Temptations, Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, Pink, Christina Aguilera. The list goes on and on and on. So for me and for us, being able to pay tribute to music that somehow has become a sample on a rap song, instead of you getting to hear this great music by these great artists, you know, from Philadelphia or Detroit or Macon, Georgia. It's for us to be able to do those songs, it's just awesome. It's really great. So yeah, definitely going to continue. I'll be seeing some of those people later this month and doing a closed show, but it's awesome. And again, I'm thrilled to be able to do what I want, and I can't live within the boundaries that other people set for me or for themselves. So yeah, Soul Station, absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, Paul, we got one more over here.
Paul, my question is, you've been all over the world, major cities everywhere. Where is, in the back of your mind, I don't know if you talk with Gene and the band, that you want to end your last concert in? Like Detroit, in New York? You know, I'm just asking, I know it's a tough one, but I'm wondering if you guys talked about that for your last concert.
We've talked about it, but not a lot. When this comes to a close, I'm pretty sure there'll be that last show that will be in a place that means that much more to us because of some historical impact. I mean, New York, of course, seems like a natural. Detroit seems like a natural. There definitely will be a date that will kind of, put the cap on this.
Ready to go? You gotta go.
Are you throwing me out now?
You gotta go. You guys don't know. I mean, one of the things working for KISS has been so cool is everyone said you're going to go work with someone that you really like, and that's a bad thing to do because you're going to find out what they really like. And Paul's really the real deal. He has to go. We have to get through this next thing because a lot of people don't know. I mean, they're working on content tonight. They have a 2-hour meeting at 11 o'clock where they're literally going through everything for the stage, video, and everything. He works constantly on this. Paul and Gene love KISS. There's no doubt.
Keith, let's hear it for Keith. So help me, there are a few people who really are at the core of making things happen, and Keith LaRue is a shining example. And with that, I will bid you a fond farewell for the night.